Hey again. This is our third video regarding reading. So at the very beginning, when kids are just learning how to read, it could be any age, but when they're truly just beginning newcomer readers, they're going to be using the pictures a lot for their figuring out the storyline. And in fact, sometimes they don't even read the words right away. They just look at the picture and they can do what's called a picture walk, and they can look through the pictures and tell themselves a story. And oftentimes they're pretty close. It may not be exactly the plot of the story, but they get the main gist of it, right? And they can tell the story through using the pictures. Then they start to learn sight words, and they start to be able to decode some words, so sounding out some words, right? So when they get to a word, so once they get to that point, they're reading most of the words, but they're going to hit some words that are too hard for them, right? And they're not sure how to read it. So there are a few things they can do. They can go back and use the pictures. They can use the context, what they know the story is about, to read the unknown words, or sometimes even like language clues will give you the idea of what the word is, even if you're not sure what it is. They can try it two ways. So in other words, like especially with those vowels, if it's the word dog, they can read dog with the short O, or then they can go with the long O and say dog. Which one sounds right? Oh, that's right. It's dog. It's the short O. So they can try it two ways. They can go back, they can get a running start, meaning they go back to the beginning of the sentence and try to read it again. Because sometimes if you do that, all of a sudden you can think to yourself, oh, that's the word that makes sense to hear in the next thing. Or they can also try to sound it out, right? Look at those sounds and really try to sound it out. Sometimes if you cover up a word, if it's a really long word, sometimes that overwhelms them and stresses them out, and then they just guess, right? Or they mumble or whatever. So by covering up part of the word, that sometimes takes away some of that anxiety, and then they can just see a few of the letters together and they can start to sound them out. Then you can take your hand away and then they can read the rest of it. Also, when they're reading, if you have them like make sure they're pointing to the words at the beginning, then you want to take that, you can encourage them to take that away as they get better and better at reading. But at the very beginning, it keeps them on the right line, because a lot of times kids will skip lines. They'll go from one line and they'll skip down two lines or something. Another thing you can do for some kids, if you take a piece of paper and you have them move that down as they read, that helps them too. Some of them get really overwhelmed if they see too many words on a page. And as they're reading, the next kind of steps in reading are, then they're going to start to begin to pause at commas more. They're going to use more expression. They're going to get a better understanding of main idea, setting, character, and plot development. And that starts to come more around maybe second or third grade level usually. And then finally, once they hit like third and fourth grade, they're now reading stuff to apply it to other content. So it's no longer reading just for the sake of reading. It's reading because we are learning about the American Constitution, or we're learning about the Miwok Indians or something, right? And so now we're reading information and we're applying it to whatever the project is we're working on. And that's that higher level reading that we want to get good at that part so that they can do those later on. Because if they're still trying to decode words and slowly plot through hard reading when they're in third and fourth, fifth grade, that's gonna make school more laborious and hard for them. So we want to try to avoid that. So that's why we want to do lots of minutes early on, so that we help them to manage that, so it's not too hard later on for them. All right. And again, just to reiterate, any language that you're reading in, I think is good stuff. So I think don't, if you're not comfortable reading in English, don't let that stop you from reading with your child. Read in your home language if you want to, if that makes it easier for you. Okay, thanks.